Mortal Kombat is the only franchise where a Hollywood actor can punch a god so hard he becomes the new god. And that's considered a mid-tier ending. For over 30 years, every time a character climbs the arcade ladder and beats the final boss, the game rewards them with a cutscene that ranges from cool, I saved my village to I have consumed the fabric of space-time and I am rewriting every molecule in every universe. Today we're walking through 12 characters whose endings went from tournament champion to cosmic horror in order, starting with a monk who just wanted to protect Earthrealm, and ending with a version of that same monk who literally became the architect of all reality, Liu Kang. Liu Kang is the guy Mortal Kombat kept putting on the poster because he kept doing the one thing nobody else could do consistently, win. In the original Mortal Kombat, this Shaolin monk enters a tournament hosted on a nightmare island by a soul-stealing sorcerer, and he just wins. No cosmic power-ups, no magical overhaul, just a guy who trained really hard and had a bicycle kick that could break the sound barrier. Then Mortal Kombat 2 happens, and he does it again, except now the tournament is in Outworld, and the final boss is Shao Kahn, a 7-foot warlord who conquers dimensions for fun. Liu Kang beats him. Then, in Mortal Kombat 3, Shao Kahn invades Earthrealm directly, and Liu Kang beats him again. 3 for 3 against escalating apocalypses, armed with nothing but good cardio and a very angry flying kick. Here's where Liu Kang's endings start getting weird. In his early arcade endings, the rewards are relatively modest. He saves Earthrealm, gets honored by the Shaolin, Raiden nods approvingly. But by Mortal Kombat 4, the endings start hinting that Liu Kang's destiny is bigger than punching things. And then the 2011 reboot happens, and everything changes. In the original timeline, Liu Kang gets killed. Shang Tsung snaps his neck in Deadly Alliance, and he spends the next few games as a zombie, which is a sentence I wish I was making up. But the reboot timeline pushes him in the opposite direction. By the time we hit Mortal Kombat 11, Liu Kang merges with Raiden's power and becomes Fire God Liu Kang, a being with enough juice to challenge Kronika, the titan who controls time itself. He went from karate guy to god of fire and lightning who can restart the universe. That's not a promotion, that's a genre change. Liu Kang's arc is the spine of the entire franchise, which means the writers can never leave him alone. His death in Deadly Alliance was supposed to be a bold move. Kill the main character, shake things up. Instead, it created a zombie Liu Kang problem that haunted the series for years. The reboot fixed this by making his death a tragic accident caused by Raiden, which then set up the emotional core of Mortal Kombat 11's entire story. His ascension to Fire God status became fully canon, and his ending in MK11, choosing to restart the timeline, literally defines the premise of Mortal Kombat 1 2023. Every single thing in the newest game exists because of Liu Kang's ending. The man's arcade ladder result became the lore equivalent of a load-bearing wall, Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung is the franchise's original sleazeball. He's a sorcerer who feeds on stolen souls, can shapeshift into anyone he's consumed, and was the final boss of the very first game. Beating the ladder as Shang Tsung means you're playing as the gatekeeper who decided the gate isn't enough. In his endings across multiple games, especially Mortal Kombat 2 and the 2011 reboot, he doesn't just win the tournament, he leverages it. He absorbs souls, betrays whoever he's currently serving under, and makes a power grab that would make a corporate raider blush. Fighting through the ladder as Shang Tsung always has this slimy energy, because you know he's not winning for honor. He's winning so he can eat everyone's essence and become the most powerful thing in the room. This is where Shang Tsung's endings go fully unhinged. In the original Mortal Kombat, his ending has him absorbing Shao Kahn's power and becoming the new ruler of Outworld. That's already obscene, a servant eating his master's soul and taking the throne. But in Mortal Kombat 11, Aftermath, they crank this dial to its absolute limit. Shang Tsung gets his hands on Kronika's hourglass, the literal mechanism that controls time. And instead of doing anything responsible with it, he consumes Kronika's power, absorbs the souls of every combatant, and basically becomes God with a capital G. He doesn't just rule a realm, he rules reality. The Aftermath DLC gives you the choice between Liu Kang's ending and Shang Tsung's ending, and Shang Tsung's version is just a villain winning completely and totally. No redemption, no twist, just a soul vampire ascending to omnipotence while laugh about it. The wild thing about Shang Tsung is that despite being one of the most iconic villains in the franchise, his eye became God endings almost never stick. He always gets reset to lackey status by the next game. Deadly Alliance let him kill Liu Kang, and he still got betrayed by Quan Chi before the sequel. Aftermath gave him that incredible God ending, but the canon path went with Liu Kang's version, and yet, in Mortal Kombat 1, 2023, Shang Tsung comes back as the main villain again, this time as a threat that persists across timelines. The developers love this character too much to let him stay on top, but also too much to let him stay gone. He's the franchise's cockroach, affectionately Raiden. Raiden is the god of thunder and the protector of Earthrealm, which sounds like a cushy gig until you realize it means babysitting a dimension full of people who keep almost getting conquered every few years. Playing through the arcade ladder as Raiden is always a little strange, because he's already a god. He's supposed to be overseeing the tournament, not entering it, but when he does fight through, he cleans house. In the original trilogy, his ladder run means a literal deity is fist-fighting ninjas and sorcerers, which is like a principal showing up to a school dodgeball game and destroying children. In the 2011 reboot, he's the actual protagonist, receiving visions from his future self, trying to prevent Armageddon, and failing spectacularly at almost every step. Raiden's endings are fascinating because the man starts as a god and still finds ways to go higher. In Mortal Kombat 4, his ending has him continuing his divine duties. By deception, he's gone Dark Raiden. Corrupted by the strain of protecting Earthrealm, he starts making morally horrific decisions, including threatening entire realms with destruction if they step out of line. The 2011 reboot takes this further. Raiden accidentally kills Liu Kang, gets consumed by guilt, and by the end of Mortal Kombat X, he's wearing Shinnok's corrupted amulet and has gone full authoritarian god. Then, in Mortal Kombat 11, he merges his essence with Liu Kang to create Fire God Liu Kang, essentially sacrificing his godhood to empower someone he trusts more than himself. Raiden's arc is a god realizing he's bad at his own job and choosing to give the power to someone else. That's either incredibly noble or the most devastating self-review in history. Raiden's story is one of the most canonically consistent in the franchise, mostly because every game needs someone to explain the plot. His descent into Dark Raiden became a major story beat in both timelines. The 2011 reboot made his visions and failures the emotional backbone of the narrative. Everything goes wrong because Raiden keeps misinterpreting a message he sent himself from the future, which is the most Raiden thing possible. His sacrifice in Mortal Kombat 11 is fully canon and results in him being reborn as a mortal in Mortal Kombat 1, 2023, meaning the series' longest-running Divine Protector is now just some guy. The writer said, "You've been a god for 30 years, try being a human, and honestly, it slaps." Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn doesn't climb ladder, he is the ladder. For most of the original trilogy, this man was the final boss, the giant hammer-wielding tyrant who taunts you mid-fight and has the kind of health bar that makes you question your life choices. Playing as Shao Kahn, Mortal Kombat 9 DLC, Mortal Kombat 11 base roster, means you're running the arcade ladder as the single most unfair presence in any fighting game. This is a guy who conquered Edenia, merged it with Outworld, and has been running an interdimensional empire for millennia. His ladder climbs aren't stories of overcoming adversity. They're a dictator reminding everyone why he's in charge by personally beating every challenger to the floor. No underdog energy, just violence administered from the top down. Shao Kahn's endings range from I rule everything to I rule everything, but harder. In Mortal Kombat 3, his ending is literally just he merged Earthrealm with Outworld and now controls a mega realm spanning multiple dimensions. In the 2011 reboot, he invades Earthrealm so aggressively that the Elder Gods have to personally step in to stop him, and in his own arcade ending, he defeats them too. Shao Kahn absorbing the Elder Gods' power means he's gone from Emperor to above the beings who are above gods. The man was already sitting at the top of the food chain, and he just kept eating. His Mortal Kombat 11 ending goes even further, with him conquering every realm in existence. Shao Kahn doesn't ascend to godhood gradually, he just takes it by force, over and over, in every timeline, like a guy who keeps robbing the same bank because it keeps working. Canonically, Shao Kahn keeps losing, and that's kind of the funniest part. Every game sets him up as this unstoppable conqueror, and then someone, usually Liu Kang, punches him into irrelevance. The 2011 reboot gave him his biggest canonical win, successfully invading Earthrealm, but still killed him by the end. Mortal Kombat 11 brought him back, and immediately made him Kronika's lackey, which is like demoting a CEO to intern. In Mortal Kombat 1 2023, he's once again someone else's subordinate. The series loves Shao Kahn's aesthetic, the helmet, the hammer, the taunts, but it will never let him actually win the story. He exists to be the most threatening punching bag in gaming history. Scorpion. Scorpion is the franchise mascot and possibly the angriest man in any fictional universe. He's a resurrected ninja specter whose entire family and clan were murdered, and he entered the Mortal Kombat tournament for one reason: to drag the person responsible straight to hell. Literally. Playing through the ladder as Scorpion in the original game means you're fighting through an entire roster of people who have nothing to do with your actual problem, just so you can get to Sub-Zero and rip his skull out. In Mortal Kombat 2, he finds out the second Sub-Zero isn't the one who killed his family and actually becomes his protector for a minute, which is the most emotionally whiplash-inducing turn a fighting game character has ever had. His ladder runs across the franchise always carry this energy of a guy who's technically in a tournament, but is really just here on personal business. Scorpion's endings have consistently given him power that no dead ninja should have. In Mortal Kombat 4, his ending involves him discovering that Quan Chi, not Sub-Zero, was responsible for his family's death, which kicks off an entirely new revenge arc. In Deception, he becomes the champion of the Elder Gods, which is a promotion from Vengeance Ghost to Divine Enforcer. The 2011 reboot and Mortal Kombat X push him even further. He's restored to human form as Hanzo Hasashi, rebuilds the Shirai Ryu, and essentially becomes a faction leader. His Mortal Kombat 11 ending has him being offered power over death itself. Scorpion's trajectory is wild. He goes from undead guy who screams, "Get over here," to respected leader blessed by cosmic forces. The glow-up is real, even if it took him dying first. Scorpion is the one character whose arcade endings have fed back into the main story in meaningful ways. The Quan Chi reveal from Mortal Kombat 4 became a massive canonical plot point that drove multiple games. His restoration to Hanzo Hasashi in Mortal Kombat X is fully canon and one of the best character arcs in the franchise. His death in Mortal Kombat 11, murdered by Devora because Devora apparently kills everyone, hit hard because his earlier endings built up so much investment in his humanity. And in Mortal Kombat 1 as 2023, Scorpion is reimagined entirely as Kuai Liang, proving the developers will literally rearrange who these characters fundamentally are before they let the franchise move forward without them. Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero has the unique distinction of being two completely different guys across the franchise, and both of them have climbed the arcade ladder in wildly different ways. The original Sub-Zero, Bai-Han, is a cold-blooded assassin, literally, who enters the first Mortal Kombat tournament on a contract killing assignment. He fights through every opponent with ice powers and ruthless efficiency. When he dies, his younger brother, Kuai Liang, takes the name and runs the ladder in Mortal Kombat 2 and beyond, but with way more moral complexity. The younger Sub-Zero isn't just fighting to win. He's fighting to honor his brother, reform the Lin Kuei clan, and eventually resist the clan's cyber initiative, which, yes, means his own people tried to turn him into a robot. Fighting through the ladder as Sub-Zero always carries this weight of legacy and reformation that most characters don't have. Sub-Zero's endings have been pulling double duty across two identities. Bi-Han's original ending hints at dark power, and the Lin Kuei's shady dealings. But it's the younger Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang, whose endings get cosmic. In Mortal Kombat 3, his ending has him reforming the Lin Kuei into a force for good. By the 2011 reboot, he's forcibly turned into a cyborg and then restored, which is traumatic on a level the game barely acknowledges. In Mortal Kombat 11, his arcade ending has him using the Hourglass to create a timeline where the Lin Kuei were never corrupted, essentially rewriting his clan's entire history. Meanwhile, Bi-Han's story takes its own turn. In Mortal Kombat 1, 2023, he's reimagined as the villain of the Sub-Zero identity, eventually becoming Noob Saibot. One name, two brothers, and both stories involve getting completely screwed over and then rewriting reality to cope. The Sub-Zero identity split is one of the most canonically messy things in the franchise, and somehow it works. Bi-Han becoming Noob Saibot after his death is canon across every timeline. Kuai Liang's cyber transformation in the reboot timeline is canon and deeply upsetting. His role as Grandmaster of the reformed Lin Kuei in Mortal Kombat X is canon and actually one of the better storylines in that game. Then, Mortal Kombat 1, 2023 flipped the entire dynamic. Now Kuai Liang is Scorpion and Bi-Han is Sub-Zero, which broke the brains of fans who'd spent decades with the original setup. The writers treat the Sub-Zero name like a hot potato that keeps getting passed between brothers, and somehow every handoff creates entirely new canonical consequences. Kitana. Kitana is a 10,000-year-old princess raised by the man who conquered and destroyed her homerealm, and she still somehow turned out to be one of the most morally grounded characters in this franchise. Her arcade ladder runs carry genuine weight because she's always fighting against the person who raised her. In Mortal Kombat 2, she discovers the truth about Shao Kahn, that he murdered her father, stole Edenia, and replaced her with a monstrous clone named Melina, and she fights through the entire tournament to oppose him. That's not just a ladder run, that's a family therapy breakthrough expressed through fan blade combat. In Mortal Kombat 3, she continues the fight to free Edenia. By the 3D era, she's leading armies and making political alliances. Kitana doesn't just climb the ladder, she's building a government on the other side of it. Kitana's endings have consistently pushed her toward royalty and beyond. Her Mortal Kombat 2 ending has her freeing Edenia from Outworld's grip and beginning to restore her realm. By Mortal Kombat 4 and the 3D era, she's been crowned legitimate ruler of Edenia, which is a promotion from princess in hiding to actual queen of a freed dimension. In the 2011 reboot, she dies during Shao Kahn's invasion and becomes a revenant, an undead servant of Quan Chi in the Netherrealm. Her Mortal Kombat 11 ending cranks the cosmic dial. She uses the hourglass to create a timeline where Edenia was never conquered, essentially unwriting thousands of years of suffering. The woman went from fan-wielding rebel to interdimensional monarch to architect of an entirely new history. If that's not an ascension arc, nothing is. Kitana's canonical story is one of the most tragic in the franchise. In the original timeline, she actually becomes queen of Edenia, and then Onaga's army destroys everything and she gets killed. In the reboot timeline, she dies again and spends the next 2 games as a brainwashed Revenant, eventually becoming the Revenant Queen of the Netherrealm, alongside a Revenant Liu Kang. The 2 romantic leads of the franchise spent an entire game as evil zombie rulers of hell. Mortal Kombat 11 finally gives her a proper heroic moment, and Mortal Kombat 1, 2023 reimagines her as Melina's sister in a new Outworld political structure. The writers love Kitana enough to always make her important, but they also love killing her so much it might be a clinical issue. Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is a Hollywood action star who entered the Mortal Kombat tournament because nobody believed he did his own stunts. That is genuinely his motivation. While everyone else is fighting to save dimensions or avenge their murdered clans, this man is here for brand rehabilitation. And the absolutely insane part is that he wins. In the original Mortal Kombat, his ladder run means a guy whose biggest prior accomplishment was a movie called Ninja Mime just beat a shape-shifting sorcerer in a death tournament on a cursed island. In Mortal Kombat 2, he fights his way through Outworld. He's fighting interdimensional warlords with sunglasses on. The energy of a Johnny Cage ladder run is always, this should not be working. And yet here we are, and the franchise has leaned into that beautiful absurdity for 3 decades. Johnny Cage's endings were initially comedy bits. In his original ending, he goes back to Hollywood and makes a movie about the tournament. Classic Johnny. But the franchise slowly started giving this man actual power. In Mortal Kombat X, it's revealed that Johnny has latent mystical ability. Mediterranean war cult heritage that gives him green energy powers activated by the need to protect loved ones. His arcade endings across recent games keep pushing us. He's not just a fighter, he's a supernaturally gifted protector with power that scales based on how much he cares. His Mortal Kombat 11 ending has him using the hourglass to give himself the perfect life as both a family man and an interdimensional hero. Johnny Cage went from joke character to secret chosen one so gradually that nobody noticed until it was too late to complain. Here's the thing about Johnny Cage. His canonical arc is legitimately one of the best redemption stories in fighting game history. In the original timeline, he died in Mortal Kombat 3 and came back, which was weird, but whatever. In the reboot timeline, he survives MK9, becomes a military leader in Mortal Kombat X, and is the emotional anchor of the story, a divorced dad who still shows up for his daughter Cassie and his ex-wife Sonya. His green energy powers are fully canon, and the reason Cassie can beat Shinnok in MKX's story mode. The franchise took a vanity-obsessed actor and turned him into a genuinely compelling character across 3 games without losing what made him funny. That's good writing. That actually happened. In a Mortal Kombat game, Sindel. Sindel is the Queen of Edenia, Kitana's mother, and one of the most dramatically retconned characters in the franchise. Her original story is genuinely heartbreaking. She killed herself rather than live under Shao Kahn's rule after he conquered Edenia, and her death created a magical ward that protected Earthrealm from invasion. In Mortal Kombat 3, Shao Kahn resurrects her on Earthrealm specifically to bypass that ward, which is one of the most creatively evil plans in a series. Playing through the latter as Sindel carries this energy of woman who has been used as a pawn by everyone and is now taking back control through sheer screaming fury. Literally, because her main power is a sonic scream that shatters bones. Her ladder climbs feel less like tournament victories and more like therapy sessions where the therapy is violence. Sindel's endings have oscillated between Noble Queen restored, and actually she was evil the whole time. In her original endings, she breaks free from Shao Kahn's control, reunites with Kitana, and helps restore Edenia. Beautiful, heroic. Then the 2011 reboot happened, and in story mode, she gets powered up by Shang Tsung's soul absorption and single-handedly kills almost the entire Earthrealm roster in one cutscene. That moment lives in infamy. Then Mortal Kombat 11. Aftermath retconned her backstory. She wasn't a tragic queen who resisted Shao Kahn, she was his willing accomplice, and her suicide was staged. Her arcade ending in MK11 leans into this villainy, giving her control over Outworld and beyond. They took one of the franchise's most sympathetic characters and said, actually, she's been running game on everyone for 10,000 years. Sindel's retcon in Aftermath is one of the most controversial writing decisions in Mortal Kombat history, and honestly, it's still being argued about. The original Sindel was a tragic figure whose sacrifice meant something. The retcon Sindel is a power-hungry schemer whose sacrifice was a manipulation. Fans were split violently. Some loved the twist, seeing it as adding depth. Others saw it as destroying a character's emotional core for shock value. Mortal Kombat 1 2023 seems to be walking back toward a more sympathetic version, but the damage to community trust was real. Sindel is the poster child for what happens when a franchise with 30 years of lore decides to, well, actually one of its foundational backstories. Sometimes a retcon is a revelation, sometimes it's just arson. Shinnok is a fallen elder god, which is the Mortal Kombat equivalent of saying someone used to be on the board of directors of the universe and got fired for embezzlement. He was banished to the Netherrealm, MK's version of hell, and spent eons scheming his way back to relevance. In Mortal Kombat 4, he's the final boss, and fighting through his ladder means you're going up against a being who was literally one of the architects of reality before he got too ambitious. The problem is that Mortal Kombat 4 is Mortal Kombat 4. The game's story presentation was rough, and Shinnok's menace got undercut by dated cutscenes and a general lack of gravitas in the delivery. He's a cosmic-level threat being presented through PlayStation 1 voice acting, which is a real imagination doing heavy lifting situation. Shinnok's endings across the franchise go exactly where you'd expect for a fallen god, straight back to the top. In Mortal Kombat 4, his ending has him conquering the Netherrealm completely and setting his sights on the Elder Gods who banished him. But Mortal Kombat X is where Shinnok's power level goes nuclear. He gets his amulet back, corrupts the Jinsei, Earthrealm's literal life force, and transforms into a giant demonic form called Corrupted Shinnok, which looks like if Satan went through a second puberty. This form threatens to poison all of reality, not just one realm. His arcade ending in MKX doubles down. He unmakes the Elder Gods and becomes the sole supreme being. Shinnok's gimmick is that he started as a god, fell from grace, and every single one of his endings is about clawing back to that level and then going past it. He's the employee who got fired and came back to buy the company. Canonically, Shinnok keeps getting embarrassingly defeated despite being one of the most powerful beings in the lore. Mortal Kombat 4's story has him beaten by the younger fighters. Mortal Kombat X brings him back as the big bad, and then Cassie Cage, Johnny's daughter, beats his corrupted god form using inherited green energy powers. A fallen elder god got beaten by nepotism and good vibes. Then Dark Raiden cuts off his head and keeps it as a warning, which is the kind of disproportionate power move that would get you reported to HR in any workplace. Shinnok proves that in Mortal Kombat, lore importance has zero correlation with your ability to actually win when it counts. Kronika. Kronika isn't just a boss. She's the boss behind the bosses. She's a titan, a being above Elder Gods, above Shinnok, above every threat the franchise had ever presented before Mortal Kombat 11 dropped her into the story. She controls the Hourglass of Time, which means she's been quietly managing the entire timeline that every previous game took place in. Fighting through the ladder in MK11, knowing that Kronika is at the end recontextualizes everything. Every tournament, every invasion, every cosmic event was happening inside her sandbox. The ladder climb against Kronika isn't just beat the final boss, it's defeat the person who has been editing reality like a Wikipedia page for all of eternity. Every character who reaches her is essentially fighting the concept of narrative control itself, which is either incredibly meta or completely absurd. Probably both. Kronika doesn't really ascend because she's already at the top when the game starts. The insanity comes from what she gives others. Every single character's arcade ending in Mortal Kombat 11 involves them gaining control of the Hourglass and rewriting reality according to their personal desires. MK11's entire arcade ladder structure is basically a what if everyone became God generator. Kronika's own plan is to erase the current timeline and create a new era without Raiden because she's convinced he keeps causing imbalance. She's the universe's most powerful editor, and her revision notes are delete this character, he ruins everything. When she's defeated, whoever beats her inherits her power over time, which means Kronika's real legacy isn't her plan. It's that she created the mechanism by which anyone can become omnipotent. Kronika is canonically defeated by Fire God Liu Kang in MK11's story mode, and her Hourglass becomes the tool he uses to create the new timeline seen in Mortal Kombat 1 2023. She's the first main villain whose defeat literally restructures the entire series going forward. Shao Kahn's defeats just meant he'd be back next game. Shinnok's defeats were setbacks. Kronika's defeat erased everything and started fresh. Her reception was mixed. Some fans felt she was underdeveloped, more plot device than person. She introduced the concept of Titans though, which Mortal Kombat 1 expanded on massively. Kronika might not have been the most charismatic villain, but she fundamentally changed what winning means in a Mortal Kombat game. After her, every ending is a timeline rewrite. The stakes can never go back down. Fire God Liu Kang. We started this list with Liu Kang, a Shaolin monk winning a martial arts tournament. We end it with Fire God Liu Kang, the same man, now a being of divine fire and lightning, fighting through a ladder that includes time-displaced warriors, revenants of his former friends, and the Titan who controls time itself. The distance between Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 1 and Fire God Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 11 is the distance between a local boxing champion and a being who could arm wrestle entropy. His fight to reach Kronika is the culmination of 30 years of storytelling. Every death, every betrayal, every timeline reset, every zombie phase feeds into this one character reaching this one fight, and he wins, obviously, because he's Liu Kang, except now when he wins, he doesn't get a trophy. He gets the keys to space-time. Fire God Liu Kang doesn't just ascend, he becomes the architect of everything. After defeating Kronika and claiming the Hourglass, he gains the ability to design a new timeline from scratch. Not influence it, not nudge it. Design it the way you'd design a house, except the house is all of reality, and everyone who has ever existed lives in it. His Mortal Kombat 11 ending, the canon one, shows him choosing to build a better world, one where the cycle of violence and cosmic meddling might finally break. He goes from tournament fighter to god of time and creation. That is the single largest power jump any character in any fighting game has ever made, and I'm including every anime fighter with final form in the title. Liu Kang didn't just win the game, he became the game. He's the Dungeon Master now, and Mortal Kombat 1 2023 is his campaign. This is it. This is the ending that ate the entire franchise. Fire God Liu Kang's Mortal Kombat 11 ending is the canonical foundation for Mortal Kombat 1 2023. Every character in the new game exists because Liu Kang designed them into his new timeline. Every relationship, every power dynamic, every twist. It's all because a monk who won a tournament 30 years ago eventually became the god who built the world those tournaments happen in. The circularity is genuinely poetic if you accept that poetry can involve spine ripping and fatalities. And the stakes of MK1's story exist because Fire God Liu Kang's creation isn't perfect. He built a new world and it's already breaking. The franchise has set up its own future by saying, even when God himself designs the timeline, Mortal Kombat finds a way to go sideways. That's not just an ending, that's a thesis statement for the entire series. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.